Hi everyone, it's Eric from ecom12.blogspot.com and welcome to my comparison of the HTC One versus the HTC One Mini. Now I know this is a very unfair fight, but the thing is, not everyone will need to spend the extra money to go and get the HTC One. So in here we're going to see how they both compare and see if, and then you guys can actually make the decision and see if it's actually worth picking up the HTC One or going and getting the HTC Mini. So let's get to it. Okay, so now what we're actually going to be doing is having a quick look at the actual hardware before we actually go into the actual software of the phone. And now let's take a look. You can see the front is completely identical, except with the HTC One Mini you get this noticeable white border that goes around the circumference of the phone. And although it does look very nice, it is quite a bit, not really cheap, as this does feel like very sturdy and durable plastic. It's not as nice as the kind of design you get on the HTC One. Now another difference you'll get is, as you can see, there's a one single piece volume rocker on the HTC One, whereas on the One Mini there are two separate volume rocker metal buttons right there. And on the back they have got the same 4 megapixel ultra pixel camera, however the flash has been repositioned on the One Mini, and they both really do have quite decent cameras, and it is really quite nice to see the camera from the high-end device go all the way onto the more like a budget kind of device, taking the kind of feature from the top-end device. Although the photo quality I'd say is pretty much exactly the same, but video quality there is a noticeable difference between the two, and you can actually see me compare the two in one of my previous videos. Now you can see over here there is a front-facing camera on both of these. Now although the back cameras are pretty much identical, the front cameras are different. On the One you have a 2.1 megapixel camera that's capable of capturing 1080p video, whereas on the One Mini you've got a 1.6 megapixel camera capable of capturing 720p video. Both at the time of recording this video ship with Android 4.2.2, and the One has got a 2300 mAh battery, whereas the One Mini has got an 1800 mAh battery. And they both have Sense version 5.0, so the latest version of Sense. Now let's actually turn these on. And something you'll notice right off the bat is that the screen on the One is actually much more crisp. Now that is obviously simple and apparent due to it obviously being a more high-end device, but there is a certain warmth you'll notice to the screen on the One Mini as opposed to the One. And in here we're going to be talking more about the screens in a minute. Now, in terms of the processor speeds, both of these, the One has got a 1.7 GHz quad-core CPU, and the HTC One Mini has got a 1.4 GHz dual-core processor. And there is obviously could be a noticeable difference if you want to do really high-end kind of gaming or anything with the One, but the One Mini is still no slouch. It really is very fast when it comes to performing all these tasks. Now, one thing I'm actually going to do is actually go over and run a quick quadrant between the two, as this would be very interesting to see what really sets them apart in terms of speed and their benchmark scores. Now of course benchmarks are not this looks like there's run through a glitch here. Now of course benchmarks doesn't decide everything, but it'll give you a good idea. It'll give you an idea of how these two compare to each other. And the One has got even though despite me actually starting this benchmark first, has gone faster than the One Mini. And as you can see, it's still going through, getting around 60 frames per second here on the One. And as this is going on, I'll let you also know the screen resolution. Now, on the One, you've got a 4.7-inch screen running at a resolution of 1920 by 1080, and it's a Super LCD 3 screen, and that is 469 pixels per inch, which is absolutely insane. And on the One Mini, you have got a 4.3-inch screen affair running at a resolution of 1280 by 720, and the PPI is 342 pixels per inch. However, you're not just getting the same pixels per inch right there. I'll press yes in a sec when this one's done. However, you're also getting Super LCD 2 on here, whereas you're getting Super LCD 3 on the One, so there is another downgrade in terms of screen quality right there. Now, something I also find very, very interesting is that the One has got Corning Gorilla Glass 2, whereas the One Mini has Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so a noticeable difference in terms of screen durability right there, which is really quite interesting. I don't know why HTC did that. Now, here are the benchmark scores. They're in, and really quite a noticeable difference right here. It's like more than half the speed actually. It's like more than half the speed difference with the HTC One. The One's more than half ahead. So on the One Mini it is faster than the One X, which is actually reassuring. On the One Mini it's got a score of 5,624, whereas on the One it's like light years ahead at 12,008. And keep in mind, these are benchmark scores, they will vary, but these are really quite interesting scores right here, and they do let you compare with older mobile phones as well. So let's go back to the home screen. And what we're going to do now is quickly run into the web browser. And we're on my website right here. I'm just going to zoom in, as you can see, and let the text reflow. As you can see, very, very smooth, and web browsing smooth on both. Let's just do that again. If I just wait for it, I don't know what it's doing there. Okay, there we go. I accidentally clicked a link. If I double tap the screen, they both go instantly, pretty much at the same time. Now what I'm going to do is actually again show you a difference between the screen quality. Now as you can see, I'm not sure if you can really see this that well on camera, but there is a noticeable difference between the actual colours. It's much more warm on the HTC One Mini. Like there's more of a yellow tint to it, whereas on the HTC One it's like the whites are super white and the blue is very blue. And if you want to like really nitpick, the One probably has a blue tint to it, but it's hardly noticeable at all. So overall, the screens I'd say on both are really great. However, if you compare the two, then you'll notice the One is far superior to the One Mini. That being said, they both really are great screens. I'm going to show you right now the difference between a 720p screen and a 1080p screen. Now 720p screens are still great. They're better than what you say get on the iPhone 5. And as you can see, it's a very crisp and clear text. However, for the human eye, there is quite a bit of strain involved in order to actually read from this distance, so it's not really a pleasant experience. However, on the One Mini, on the One, you've got that insane 469 ppi, and from this distance, you can read the text. You don't even have to zoom in. So I'm really surprised. It's like, with that 1080p display, that is how you're going to notice the difference. So no one's going to want to read text from this distance, but that gives you an idea how crisp and how much of a difference there is to the actual 1080p resolution as opposed to the 720p resolution. And that makes a much better experience for video as well. Now, both the speakers on both these devices are great. They both got boom sound speakers. The HTC One has got the best speaker I've ever heard from a mobile device. And the One Mini, I'd put it in second place. It's not as good as the One, but that's to be expected as the size is smaller and it is a more budget end device. But I'd say this is one of the best sounding speakers I've ever heard on any other smartphones either. If the HTC One wasn't around, then this would be the most superior sort of like sounding speakers as opposed to all other smartphones out there. Now let's go back to the home screen. And now we're going to come to our gaming test, and this is going to be very, very interesting. I think you all know which game I'm going to be testing this on. So let's just go into the app tray right here, and I've got it loaded right here, The Amazing Spider-Man. Let's tap into both of them. The One went into it first, but yeah, we're going to expect that sort of performance from the One. And let's just put the One Mini on top. Oh, and the One Mini apparently has gotten there quicker. Let's see. Can't skip those, so we're just going to have to deal with these. And that was the sound from the One Mini. And the One Mini, as I said, is no slouch in terms of sound quality. It's just that the HTC One is obviously better, but, I digress. Now, let me just skip these videos. And what I want to try doing is get into the actual gameplay. Now, as I said, 1.7 GHz quad-core processor, 1.4 GHz dual-core processor. How will they perform? Which one will come on top? We'll have to see. And again, this gives you a better example as to how the screen looks better in the One. And also interesting to note, I'll just let you know, is that the One Mini only has 16GB of internal storage, whereas the HTC One has got either 32GB or 64GB capacity of an internal storage when you actually purchase, so neither of them support micro SD cards, which is a bit of a shame. I'm actually really quite surprised how this one loaded up faster, but I'm pretty sure that'll become apparent to you guys soon. Now, this game lags on every single device I've played it on. How will it perform on here? You want to see? Let's see right here. Now, this is the HTC One, the One Mini. Let's start with the HTC One, which has got much more horsepower than the One Mini, and we'll see which one plays it faster. Now, you probably can't notice this as well on camera, but there is noticeable lag and stuttering on here. As you can see, you just notice that stuttering. There. Lots of lag and lots of stuttering when actually playing this game, and apparently Spider-Man can web swing by just shooting a web into plain air right there. So, as you can see, not very pleasant. And I don't know why it keeps doing that, even on a quad-core device. 1.4 GHz dual-core processor, let's see how this performs. Now, as you can see, this is very strange. You'll be able to notice this yourself. This is super smooth. This is how smooth it should be. Do you see that? See how smooth this is? It's very, very strange how this runs like incredibly smooth. And let's go back to the One. Now after you've seen the really super smooth performance, it becomes more apparent to you on camera how lagging this is. I think this is just very, very bad programming on the developer's part. Gameloft, you lose serious points, because it seems to like just work properly on dual-core devices, but not all dual-core devices. It worked great on the Xperia T, and it was now working great on the HTC One Mini. However, this also does work great on another device, which I'll show you in a future video, and that will really boggle the mind. So, that's Amazing Spider-Man on both these devices. Overall, both these devices are like super capable, or super fast, and I really do enjoy using both of them. It's like they're both incredibly fast, and it's like despite having overlays, normally mobile phones that have overlays on them, particularly in Android, have a noticeable like downgrade of performance when you compare them to their stock counterpart, like on the Nexus devices. But these are, I would say, as fast as the Nexus devices, or they at least seem like that, especially when I'm in the web browser or navigating around the operating system, launching applications. As you can see, let me just pop into, say, the settings. One got there first, then the One Mini. Let's go into something like Twitter. We'll pop into that. The One got there first, like pretty much instantly. And let's just also go into the calendar. The One got there again first, so you can definitely tell, but it's like just by a second or half a second, so not too much in it. So, thank you guys very much for watching. This is my comparison of both the HTC One and the HTC One Mini. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll be comparing the HTC One against the HTC One Mini against the LG Nexus 4. And we'll see which one comes on top and how smooth these are when compared to a Nexus device. So, thanks very much for watching, and a big thanks must go over to Vodafone for sending me both these over to review, and I'll see all of you next time. Take care.